Fake HO a cop, knocked on my cabin door. But I'm the head of state police, part 2. I grabbed my flashlight in one hand, sidearm in the other, and moved along the side of the cabin. Max stayed close, tail low and tense. I flicked the beam into the woods, scanning the tree line. For a second everything was still. Then I saw it. A flicker of movement behind the oak trees. Not deer, not raccoons, a man. He yelled out, "This is private property, armed homeowner. Show yourself or I will defend myself." No answer. But I could hear footsteps now, retreating, fast. I held my ground. I wasn't about to chase someone through the dark woods without backup, not when I had no idea how many were out there. So I called Sheriff Harlan. "You still out there?" he asked, voice low and serious. "I've got at least 2 individuals on my land. One fake cop already came to my door. Another one sneaking around the back with a camera. This is no prank, Harlan." "Understood, I'm rolling out now. Don't engage unless absolutely necessary." "Copy that." While I waited, I did a slow perimeter check of my property. No fresh damage, but that blinking red camera light, still there. I yanked it down and brought it inside. It was a cheap motion, activated camera like something you'd find on a discount shelf. But the SD card inside might tell me more. Sheriff Harlan arrived 20 minutes later. Lights off, cruiser quiet as a whisper. He stepped out wearing a heavy jacket, hand resting on his holster. "You all right?" he asked, eyes scanning the tree line. "For now," I said. "They're gone, but I'm sure they'll be back." We brought the camera inside and plugged it into my old laptop. The footage showed a man creeping through the trees. Face covered by hoodie, but his build was slim. He placed the camera on a tree facing my cabin window, then looked straight into the lens as if checking the angle. "See that?" I said, pausing the footage. This wasn't random. He knew what he was doing. Harlan sighed. "I've had 4 other complaints like this in the last year, all from folks who live near the Briar Hills community." I narrowed my eyes. Briar Hills. The gated neighborhood with the fancy sign and the phony patrols. Yeah, they created their own HOA a few years ago. Real paperwork and all, but they've started thinking they control more than just their gated lots. They don't. Exactly, but they act like they do. There's a guy running it, Walter Pierce. Used to be a big-time developer in Chicago, moved here with a boatload of money and started calling himself a president. And now he's sending fake officers to intimidate landowners. Harlan nodded slowly. "Wouldn't be the first time. I'm gonna make sure it's the last." Harlan gave me a look. "Jack, don't go storming down there with a badge and a grudge." "I won't." I lied. The next day I decided to pay Briar Hills a little visit. Not to stir the pot, just to see the faces behind this circus. The front gate was guarded, not by security, but by a man in a vest that said, "Community Enforcement Officer." He was leaning back in a lawn chair, sunglasses on, playing with his phone. I pulled up in my truck and rolled down the window. "Need to speak with Walter Pierce," I said. "You a resident?" he asked, barely looking up. "No, but I think Walter knows who I am." He looked over my truck, then at me. "Name?" "Commander Jack Brennan, head of state police." The man sat up straighter, sunglasses nearly fell off. "1 second. He radioed someone, whispered something into the mic, then waved me through like I was royalty. The houses were pristine, cookie cutter.